hearts race.
And the crowd goes wild.
All across the nation, the Dirt Track Warriors duke it out for what matters the most.
The trophy
and the glory. This is Gas and Glory, presented by R&R Enterprises.
And welcome back to Gas and Glory, the place where we talk about what matters the most, the trophy and the glory. It's Kyle, Luetters and Neil Quick joining you once again from the studios here at R&R Enterprises. And Neil, how was your Memorial Day weekend, bud?
It was great, Kyle. Got to spend some time with the family and hang out and watch some racing and pay tribute to all the soldiers that have given a lot for our country to have what it has now.
Well, you're absolutely right there, both on the soldiers account, and we certainly thank our servicemen and women. It was a great way to remember them this past weekend. But let's get back to the racing, because this is a racing show. So it's like Racer's Paradise Memorial Day weekend, especially Sunday because you have F1 in Monaco, the Indy 500, and the Coca-Cola 600. But we're here today to talk a little bit of dirt track racing, aren't we? We kick things off the World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series at the Circle K NOS Energy Showdown at the dirt track at Charlotte on Friday evening, and it was our good friend, Team R&R driver Joey Saldana with a gem of a victory, holding off Donnie Schatz. You know, when you saw Schatz come from 7th to 2nd in the dash, I think a lot of people just tuned out going, all right, well, he's just going to run away with this thing. But Joey Saldana started on the pole of that event, and what transpired that night was some phenomenal racing at the dirt track at Charlotte.
Yeah, Joey continuing to be hot and putting up W's up there, and I think you're starting to see Donnie starting to figure it out, and I think it's going to be interesting to see this all coming together. I mean, you got Darren still out there leading the points. Mm-hmm. Joey continues to put up these quick times and consistent finishes, and Donnie coming alive. I think you're going to throw these guys in together like we've been talking about all year. I mean, you got Darren, you got Paul McMahon, you got Joey, and you got Schatz coming alive here.
Well, you're absolutely right. And touching on that quick times, did you know that Joey Saldana has 12 quick time awards this year?
That's awesome.
12. That's almost half the races ran this season. He has been quick time. That is blistering fast, and that's what is keeping him within 4 points of Darren Pittman. Darren Pittman has 7 race victories to Saldana's 3. But Pittman only has 2 quick time awards. That's why qualifying points are so vital, and you get 5 for being quick time with the World of Outlaws.
I think we saw this last year at the points payoff for Darren on this deal,
yep,
on the quick times. I think we had this conversation when Darren was leading the points
coming
coming
about
down.
That.
Yeah, exactly. These quick times and the way the points is set up, it is very, very vital to these guys to get out there and get out front and get quick time each night. And I see this as the same thing, same trend that's happened at the end of last year that we were looking at and going, how is this possible? And you start looking at it and you're going, boy, this is a big deal.
Well, I know you and I disagree on this just a little bit here, and I'll give you the chance to explain in just a second. But in my opinion, when you want to talk about a season-long champion, mm-hmm, to me, a season-long champion is the guy or the team, and the team that put together the entire body of work. And for me, that includes time trials. So I think that, the points awarded for time trials are legitimate. I think that is what makes a champion team champions. It's a whole body of work.
Yeah, but in consideration, I think there's not as much of a point emphasis put on the winner. And that's what we were looking at last year. We're looking at the performance, and I think Donnie in the wins category
had over 20 wins.
Had over 20 wins, and we're looking back and going at these finishes, and he had good consistent finishes. Had a couple races that were bad. What basically happened here, though, is those quick times outweighed that and put it in a situation that Darren ended up winning the points. Same thing happening with Joey this year. He is winning, and he is putting up consistent finishes, but those 12 quick times, that's pushing him over the top.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I just pulled up the points, the final standings from last year. Darren Pittman won the title by 14 points. Now, he had 8 wins versus Schatz's 23. He had 45 top 5s compared to Schatz's 46. In the top 10 category, 59 to 61. Guess which area he outled Schatz by a country mile?
Quick times.
13 to 3.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to take anything away from qualifying. I think there needs to be something put on a finish of a win. I think there needs to be something that breaks that apart.
So you would be for added points for a win.
Absolutely. I would definitely like to see that happen more. I mean, we're talking about the whole ball of wax at the end of the night. The guy goes out there, you have to qualify good, and you have to get through your dash and your inversion and finish good in the feature. That's what I'm looking for, is that at the end of the night type finish. I mean, it's hard to compare somebody that's got relatively close, same top fives, maybe one off, 20 wins comparison to 8. This thing outweighs itself, and this is what our argument was at the end of last year. I think there needs to be some more points added for the wins.
I think this is an argument that you and I could have till Kingdom Come anyways, but we need to continue on. But speaking of Donnie Schatz, he came up the bridesmaid down at Charlotte, but he went to victory lane in a very exciting feature at Lawrenceburg Speedway. And the driver that we're going to be talking to a little bit later on, the driver of the Bears Tree Service Nice Cretan Landis Block and Concrete All-Star Performance number 51, Paul McMahan, he was up in the thick of it, but Lawrenceburg put on a tremendous World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series feature on Memorial Day, and Schatz went to victory lane there, and that was his 4th win of the 2014 season. But like you mentioned earlier, Donnie Schatz starting to get hot. Should the competition be worried?
It's that time of the year, yes.
Well, normally we start talking about Schatz in July.
I'm telling you.
Month of money comes around.
They
start bringing out them big checks, and Donnie's eyes light up. And
he's like a bloodhound on during hunting season, man.
Well, those slot machines, they start spinning, and then they go ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
that's Donnie. I think in the month of July, that number 15 team just gets hot when the temperatures rise and the payouts go up. It happens every year. That's why he wins the Nationals pretty much every year.
It's hard to think that possibly a team like a TSR team like Donnie Schatz is out there and possibly experimenting at the beginning of the year to lead them into those type of races and to carry them throughout the year. Sometimes that kind of in the back of your head, that could be happening.
Just a little bit anyways. And, Donnie Schatz already, like we mentioned, 4 victories on the season, several strong runs. Steve Kinzer, he's been to victory lane this year on the Salute to the King Tour. They actually declared it Steve Kinzer Day in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
I see that. He got a key to the city and everything.
I think he's got a few keys to some cities here throughout the year. I mean, I think Steve is just going to be able to go around wherever he wants to with all these keys, and the world's his.
That key ring's big, man.
It's going to be like a janitor key ring.
Dragging it behind him.
Oh, God. Taking a look at the World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series point standings, Darren Pittman leads the points by 4 markers over Joey Saldana. Donnie Schatz is in the 3rd position, only 10 back. Paul McMahon is sitting in the 4th spot, and then Kerry Madsen rounds out your top 5. And those guys are very, very close together, Neil. Just really, just a few points separating all these guys when you take a look at it. The top 4 are within 61 markers of each other, and Kerry Madsen's 204 back. These top 4 guys struggle. There's a 5th horse in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, again, we've seen this the past couple seasons in the World of Outlaw, STP World of Outlaw Series. I mean, these guys are putting out a great product week in and week out, and competitive shows that the fans can't pass up.
Well, they definitely cannot. And speaking of some great sprint car racing, Knoxville Raceway this past weekend, once again, Craig Delansky came in off the road with the World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series, and now he has 2 victories so far at Knoxville Raceway this year, and in a very exciting feature in which he dueled with Davey Heskin.
That was impressive. Saw some highlights on that. I know you were up there this weekend, and crowd pleaser. I mean, heck of a run between him and Heskin, and
2 Minnesota drivers going at it.
Yeah, working the high side and the bottom side. And
track was gorgeous.
Yeah, it worked. The racing up at Knoxville, like always, very impressive. And watching them go from the top side and the bottom side and back and forth. And Craig prevailed there with a last lap, kind of moving from the high side to the low side to hold Heskin off and kill his momentum a little bit. But crowd pleaser looking strong up there, weekly shows.
And, that is going to be a question that we're going to talk about here a little bit later on in the show is, could this be the year that a Knoxville regular dethrones Donnie Schatz or any of the World of Outlaws when it comes time for the Nationals? But like I said, we'll get to that in just a little bit. Tanner Thorson, the latest member of the Keith Coons Midget Racing team, beats Christopher Bell when they took on the Power Eye Midgets up at Angel Park, but we need to take a minute and talk about our good friend Rico Abreu. Rico went for a very, very scary ride, and we hope that he is okay, but certainly we're hoping and pulling for Rico that he's going to be all right and back in the race car very soon. Tanner Thorson, though, over Christopher Bell in what looked to be another phenomenal Power Eye feature.
Yeah, it looked like they had good racing up there over the weekend. And, again, we've talked about these guys week in and week out, Keith Kunz Motorsports, and here goes another guy straight to the top. And, again, Rico and Christopher Bell we've talked about a lot, and Tanner now putting it up in front.
Is that not just a midget racing dream team, those three together?
It's impressive.
I mean, you look at the podium finishes, and it's those three guys.
I think a lot of it has to do with what we talk about. I mean, Keith Kunz and the organization there, and it's
Toyota Racing Development,
TRD, and it's a midget super team.
And you can pick up Rico's and Christopher Bell's merchandise and apparel over at www.r-raceware.com. We spoke to Christopher here recently and hope to have Rico on here pretty soon, but some more great finishes from that trio of drivers making names for themselves, much like another young gentleman named Kyle Larson. And, oh, by the way, Kyle Larson picked up his second NASCAR Nationwide Series victory this past weekend in the History 300 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he drove a whale of a race.
Yeah, he did. Kyle getting his second win out there, and more to come. Very impressive, and seeing him carrying a new sponsor to Victory Lane this weekend.
That was a loud car. It was a bright orange and white car. That sucker was loud.
You could turn the lights out there, man.
It's like day glow orange, but it looked cool. They visited Victory Lane. Our good friend Kenny Wallace has been stringing together several good finishes in his Jegs Modified. Herm, I mean, I can always tell how Herm did by how excited he is in his Vine videos the morning after the race.
Yeah, he keeps us posted up to date. I don't think
he's his own best PR guy.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything short of Herm keeping us in the loop here, positive or negative.
Well, and look forward to more of him as the dreaded New York Yankees are in town to play the St. Louis Cardinals during this homestand. So we'll keep an eye out for those. Are you
saying that the Cardinals are going to lose the Yankees in this homestand?
I'm not saying yay or nay either way, and we also need to give a tip of the cap to Ken Schrader.
I see how we're changing the subject really quick here.
He finished second at Indy Mile. We're going to talk baseball here in just a little bit, but for right now, I recently had the opportunity to catch up with the driver of the number 51 Bears Tree Service Nice Cretan Landis Block and Concrete All-Star Performance Car, Paul McMahon, and here is that interview. And at this time, we'd like to welcome in the driver of the number 51 CJB Motorsports entry. It is Paul McMahon. Paul, what's going on today, my friend?
Not a whole lot. Just trying to catch up on some rest after a long night of driving home after Lawrenceburg last night.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. It seems like it was a very good weekend over Memorial Day for you and the number 51 car. You went down to Charlotte, picked up a top 5, and went up to Lawrenceburg and picked up a top 5. Describe your weekend and the success that you guys had.
We were pretty good, all weekend. Charlotte's one of my favorite racetracks we go to, so was really looking forward to going there. And, we qualified well and then won our heat race and put us in the dash. And wasn't very good in the dash. We fell back a couple spots. And then come around main event time, we picked a few spots up and battled really hard to run fourth. We were right there with the leaders the whole race, but just came up a little short.
Well, that's it's so difficult to put together that entire night because one little adjustment can throw you off. Like you mentioned there in the dash, you went back a little ways. Talk about Lawrenceburg as well, too. That was another strong top 5 run for you and the team.
Yeah, Lawrenceburg was another good night. Same thing. Started off well with qualifying and got through the heat and got in that dash and was pretty good in the dash and started fourth and ran third. And, anytime you can get a spot is big with in that dash. So, then coming around main event time, we had a really, really good race car early in the race and battled Sammy for the lead for a while. And we had an open red and we made a few adjustments and the car got a little better. And then we got a hole in the right rear tire, which dropped us back to fifth, but all in all, we were in contention to win, all night long, and had a good race car. Just unfortunate circumstances that we punctured a tire, and feel very lucky that we are able to run fifth and not have the tire blow out and make another DNF.
You're absolutely right there. And we're talking with Paul McMahon, driver of the number 51 CJB Motorsports entry. And Paul, that kind of segues into something that I wanted to talk about, is that Now that you're in your second season, really, with this CJB Motorsports team, describe the relationship between you and Barry Jackson and how you guys have really come together and gelled, not just between you and Barry, but you and the entire team. This number 51 car has been strong all season, leading the points early on, and you're still right in the thick of the title fight, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, the first day at CJB Motorsports, coming to work with Barry was really easy. Me and Barry talked many years ago just about life in general, not even racing. We were just I was riding to somewhere in Minnesota in the Budweiser trailer with Joey Saldana's crew, and Barry was the crew chief at that time for them. We just got talking, and there was another night at the hotel. We just kind of talked, and it wasn't about racing. It was just about life and, how people take, what we get to do is a blessing that we have. It's not like we have to do it. It's a blessing that we get to do it. And we just talked about things and became very good friends and talked, about racing. And then he came to me a couple years ago and asked me to drive a 51 car. And, from the onset of driving for CJB 51, me and Barry have just been on the same page the whole time. He kind of knows what I'm thinking. I just tell him what the car is doing. He makes adjustments. I don't question anything he does. At the end of the day, we both give 110%, and some days, and there's never any finger pointing when one or the other makes a mistake. I make plenty of mistakes driving the race car, and the race cars ain't perfect, but that's our job is to make the best with what we got.
Well, you're absolutely right there. And racing is it's a give and take sport. There are going to be some nights you're on it, some nights you're off of it. So it's great to hear that you guys really have that relationship to where if it's a great night, we'll smile, we'll celebrate in victory lane, or if it's a bad night, we're just going to push it into the trailer and continue on to the next event, and that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what you got to do. It's, we race way too much to dwell on things. I mean, yeah, we definitely don't like to lose, but at the same sense, it's we understand and we talk about what can we make better. Even the nights we win, we're always trying to figure out what we can make better on our race team. And this year has just been a testament of the year and a half that I had with him before the season started, of all the hard work that Barry has done, and in bringing Shane Bowers over from Kerry Madsen's teams last year has really helped our team out a ton. And then Scotty, little Scotty, is working out pretty well. It's his first year out on the road, and he's learning a lot.
Shane Bowers, someone that you mentioned there, coming over to your guys' team, a part of multiple championships for Donnie Schatz, probably one of the most respected wrenches there in the entire World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series pit area. But you guys also had a little bit of additional help here lately with your son Braden coming out on the road. What was it like to be able to have Braden out there with you? He's just completed his first year of college. He comes out there on the road with you guys, and, Bud, I got to tell you, I can't think of anyone out there that's a bigger cheerleader for you than your son.
Yeah, I definitely. It's been a lot of fun to have him with me. He's very dedicated to racing and very, my number one fan. And sometimes his emotions get the best of him, and he says things that he probably shouldn't over the World Wide Web. But we all do that. And he's very passionate to go racing, and he loves to go with me to go racing. So it's been a lot of fun. Here in the last month, just me and him in the truck and driving up and down the road and talking about things, and not just racing but life in general and school and. It's been a lot of fun. I haven't got to do that a lot because I've been gone racing while he's been in school, and to have him be out here after his first year of college, he's grown up a lot, and we can have them father-son talks where Dad's not so stupid anymore.
That was one of the things that I really had to admit when I went to college is my old man wasn't as dumb as I thought he was, but that's another conversation for another time. But you mentioned being gone an awful lot. Walk the folks that are listening to this through what your schedule looks like. Let's say you've come in off the road off a probably, let's say, 2 weeks of being gone. What does a typical comeback from that trip, Paul McMahon Day, look like? Because you're a busy guy even when you come home.
Yeah, I mean, when I get home, it's get home, get some rest, make sure you get all your laundry taken care of, and uniforms washed, and some days I only have a 3-day turnaround when I get home. So make sure I get in. First thing is laundry, uniforms, and then then I got to take care of the household things. I got to take care of bills, and my wife is at work, and so during the day I get to the gym and do that first thing in the morning, and I try to get home and do my bills, my paperwork. So I got to do paperwork for the race team and make sure all the hotels are taken care of for the guys for the following month. And it's not that I just sit at home and do nothing. I'm always busy doing something, whether it's for the race team or just household chores that I got to do around the house.
Well, he's Mr. Mom. I think a while back you had the nickname Paulie Crocker because you, from what I hear, are a pretty good cook as well too. So Paul McMahon, man extraordinaire it seems. But there was a lot of buzz made here recently about Kurt Busch doing the double. So completely out of left field, if anyone were to ever offer you a ride in the Indy 500, how quickly would you say yes or no?
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a thought. It'd be yes. Growing up your whole life, that's what you want to do is race the Indy 500, and to have that opportunity I wouldn't even have to think about it.
All the jet setting that you already do. You might miss the race, bud. You seem to have a bit of an unlucky streak at the airports. That's the only thing I'd be worried about.
Yeah, my airline reservations or my airline luck this year has not been very good. I think I've flown 10 times this year, and I've had 10 delays everywhere I've been. So it's just part of it. Everybody used to get all bent out of shape about it. I just find the humor in it now and relax. The airlines do the best they can and to get me where I need to be, and I just know that I do not leave the day of a race anymore.
We're speaking with Paul McMahon here, talking about a wide variety of things, including airport delays. But, Paul, coming up this weekend, you guys, the World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series, that is, and the CJB 51 team, you guys are going to be heading up to one of the, what I would say, toughest areas to race in, and that is Ohio. You guys are going up to Attica Raceway Park for the Kistler Engines Classic, and then on up to Michigan, Lake Odessa, Michigan, for I-96. Describe those two racetracks coming up, and especially at Attica where the regulars are so strong there. How difficult is it going to be to get on out of there, not just with a win, but even a good finish?
It's very tough to go into Attica. We'll have 50-some race cars, and that track is all based on your qualifying time. And usually the earlier numbers are better, and the later you go out, the slower the track gets. But I mean, you got guys like Craig Mintz and Dale Blaney, and Lee Jacobs is running very well. You're gonna have Hogg there. You're gonna have Byron Reed. I mean, I can't even name them all. There's so many good race cars that will be at Attica that can win that race at any given time, that run there every week. Mm-hmm. And that's tough to go into somebody's backyard and beat them. But, we haven't got, and Mother Nature hasn't let us race it the last few years. It looks like this year it's going to be, we might be all right to have good weather. So really looking forward to going into Attica. It's a fun racetrack. It gets very slick, but it gets very racy, and it's one of them places that a guy can start in the back and work his way up to the front if he has a good race car.
And I-96, the reconfigured once again. It seems to be that they keep shifting back and forth between the half mile and the 3/8 mile. Back to the 3/8 this year. Your thoughts on I-96?
I-96 is I-96. You every time we go there, it's something different. So I've never ran the small track there. Mm-hmm. I've been I was there when they ran it, but I wasn't racing. Uh-huh. So it's going to be a little different. Our notes that we had for the 51 car was on the half mile. So we're just going to have to go in and Barry will look at the racetrack and make some adjustments to the car, whatever he thinks is what we need to do. And, we'll be right there. We'll be right on our game as soon as we get there. Doesn't matter if we run on the half or the 3/8. So looking forward to getting back to I-96. Got a lot of friends there from when I drove for Warren Johnson in the U2 car way back in the early 2000s. Being out of White Pinch in Michigan, our shop is there. So I got a lot of friends and that are from that area that'll be up there to watch me race.
Well, you are absolutely right, and that was one of the racetracks that you won at last year, Paul. Hopefully, Lady Luck on your side once again, and we do appreciate you taking the time to chat with us here today. You can follow Paul online at Paul McMahon. He's on Twitter. He's also on Facebook. He has a ton of great gear in the number 51 trailer at any World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series event. Also in the Joey Saldana souvenir trailer as well, too, right, Paul?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you can also pick up his gear online at www.r-rracewear.com. Well, Paul, we won't tie up any more of your precious time. Hopefully you get everything done that you need to get done, and a good luck to you on this great weekend of racing coming up.
All right, Kyle, I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on the show.
And what a great interview with Paul McMahon. We appreciate Paul taking the time out to join us here this week on Gas and Glory. And, Neil, you're not going to find a better guy anywhere than Paul McMahon. And I think that interview speaks for itself, talking about what racing means to him and spending time with his son and, just all around cool guy.
Absolutely. Paulie's been around for a long time, and like we talk week in and week out when we talk to these drivers, the thing is they are race car drivers, but they have a family, and just like us, they get up in the morning and go to work and
put
come
their
back.
pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Well, maybe the fire suit.
Yeah.
Put the fire suit on one leg at a time. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we got it now. So, but no, once again, thank you very much, Paul McMahon, for joining us here this week on Gas and Glory. And we're going to take this opportunity to preview some of the events coming up this weekend. We talked to Paul about it a little bit. The World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series heads to the Attica Raceway Park in Attica, Ohio for the Kistler Engines Classic, and then on up to I-96 Speedway in Lake Odessa, Michigan for the Napa Rumble. It's a big weekend of racing for the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars, and, we can talk about this just a little bit here, and I think we talked about it last week, that Attica is going to be pretty tough for the Outlaws with that strong contingent of local and even regional guys in the Ohio area.
Yeah, it is a track that actually caters to the guys that are racing there on a weekly basis and putting in more time. And it's kind of like when the Outlaws go to Pennsylvania on those Pennsylvania tracks. Same thing that kind of relays or actually goes as an aspect. Them guys putting in the time every weekend are going to give the Outlaws a fit there.
Well, they absolutely are. And then when you head up to I-96, that place grows to a half mile, shrinks to a 3/8, grows to a half mile, shrinks to a 3/8. I mean, they're always changing something up there.
Maybe they should put a figure 8 going.
Well, it was funny that you mentioned that, because the time that I was up there, they had a dirt go-kart track. And figure 8s are known for their crashing. Well, we did quite a bit of crashing on their dirt carts there. I don't think we got invited back after that.
Have you ever done a school bus figure 8, Kyle?
No,
I'm thinking kind of this goes hand in hand with your snowmobile adventure coming up.
Here we go. Yeah, I can add that to the list. Now, where I grew up in Southwest Kansas, one of the coolest things I ever saw was a combine demolition derby.
Combine demolition derby?
Yeah, like big combines, farm equipment combines, demolition derby.
Don't you sit in the front of those things?
Yeah, that's the danger of it there, bud.
Wow.
Now it's not as dangerous.
You guys get bored out there in the flatland, don't you?
They take the headers off the combines, so cut down on space a little bit.
Kyle, still, you're in front of these things, and you're using the front of this to run it. Well,
you can back into somebody, but your steering's in the back. So you're in a catch-22. You're in the front, the steering's in the back.
Well, we know where Kyle gets his
sense of adventure.
Sense of adventure. That's the understatement of the week. I mean, snowmobile drag racing, combine demo derbies.
Don't forget, apparently I'm driving a school bus in a figure 8 contest now.
We can get that set up, Kyle.
Oh, gosh.
We can actually set that up possibly in the parking lot here. It's going to be a little tight, but we can pull it off.
Do you have an excursion I could drive?
Yeah, absolutely. We could actually slap some yellow paint on that. Good to go. Not sure you're going to get very far, but
a little bit of an inside joke here anyway. Ford Excursion's kind of like a school bus, and there happens to be someone around here at R&R that drives one that
you don't have to worry about the steering on this thing. And it's prone to catching a fire.
Moving right along. Power Eye Midgets head to Bloomington Speedway and Brownstown Speedway. Some more great tracks. Bloomington in particular is just a phenomenal racing facility.
Yeah, kind of make a note on this Power Eye deal. Really excited. The Power Eye trailer going to be stocked up full with some new Power Eye merchandise for this weekend's event. So race fans, be sure to go over there and hit the girls up and get some new stuff.
And be sure to tell them that R&R sent you.
you.
There you go. And then our good friends Ken Schrader and Kenny Wallace taking some time off this weekend. Those guys have been so busy. I mean, just everywhere you look, they're here, there, everywhere, and yonder. So
I think they're not driving race cars this weekend. It might not mean they're taking the weekend off. I mean, Kenny Wallace, I'm sure we're going to have still 4 to 5 Vine videos a day.
4 to 5 Vine videos a day. You're exactly right there anyways, my friend. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going on in the racing world that's coming up here this final weekend of the month of May. And now it is time for one of my favorite segments here on the show. It is time for Squeal or No Squeal. Each and every week, we ask Neil Quick 3 racing-related questions, and he gives us his opinion in the form of a squeal if he agrees or a no squeal if he does not.
Well, hey, I've noticed on this, just this introduction you've been giving to me for the Squeal and No Squeal, it used to be resident racing expert. Now it's just Neil Quick posed racing questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's changing.
Well, you gotten so many of them wrong that we had to demote you.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready for question number 1 now?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay. Another thriller in Indianapolis this past weekend is the Indy 500 back on the map. Squeal or no squeal?
Squeal. Indy 500, one of the most exciting races through the weekend. Comes down to the last lap, and Ryan Hunter-Ray timed everything right.
American Ryan Hunter-Ray. That was the other big story.
Yeah,
winning the race.
Since Sam Hornish, I mean, this is the
2006.
first American to win the race. And, I mean, anybody that was watching the race, just watching Castro Neves dejected after the race, just could see how important and what this race means to even be in it and have a chance to win it. I mean, this is a guy that's won it 3 times, that had his chance to win it 4 times, that came 1 lap from winning it, and it looked like, I mean, he'd lost everything. So it was a heck of a race, and the racing was nothing like I saw this weekend out there. I mean, besides some of the dirt racing, it's just one of those things that the IndyCar 500 or Indy 500, the IndyCars put on a spectacular show.
Okay, well,
and it's happened the last 2 or 3 years, so definitely this is back.
I'm going to disagree with you there a little bit. I'd say let's give it a couple more years to really return to that stature that it once had, because let's face it, IndyCar has been hobbling a little bit since the split, and they've never fully recovered from that. So let's give it a couple more years, and then you can finally say it is gone back to that pinnacle that it was.
How can you say that it's not? I mean, the racing was absolutely
Yeah.
just stellar, and it has been the last couple of years. And then you throw in the mix of drivers that are in it. I mean, we got Kurt Busch making his rookie debut
This
in
helped.
an Indy car.
Finished
I mean,
sixth.
this is the first time this guy's actually pitted an Indy car. Finished 6th. Juan Pablo comes back. You got great competition there, great field, and look at the crowd. I mean, obviously it's back because you've seen growth this year in the crowd. It really looked good.
Well, what I'm just saying is it's been good for about the last 3-4 years. Let's give it a couple more, and then we can say that the Indy 500 is back completely to where it once was.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if they'll ever get back completely, but back to that. Because right now, when you think of Memorial Day, it's almost like the Coca-Cola 600 is up here, and then Indy's just a little bit of a step down.
I understand what you're saying, but the thing is I'm already looking forward to next year's. I mean, we've already heard Brian Clausen has commitment to run next year. That's another added bonus. We got a dirt car guy going and running the Indy 500, so
The way it should be.
yes, you got guys that are trying to get in
Coming
those
out of
rides.
USAC.
Yep, you got USAC guys, you got NASCAR guys, you've got guys that run the IndyCar series full time. And in the last couple of years, I think we've had some Formula One guys that have made their way back. Or Jacques Villeneuve back in IndyCar this year running the Indy 500. You got guys that have won the race in the past, like Buddy Lazier, back in the field. These guys are migrating. I think it's back already.
All right, we'll see how this all goes. But, yes, we are both looking forward to the Indy 500 next year. Moving right along here in Squeal or No Squeal, I know you're going to love this question. I just can tell right now. You're grimacing over there.
I hate this one.
Squeal or no squeal, Saldana's quick times will be the deciding factor in this year's World of Outlaws STP Sprint Car Series Championship.
I'm going to go no squeal on this.
Oh, I could have guessed.
Yeah, I'd like to say squeal or no squeal, both 50-50 on this deal, but I believe that it'll be one fair and square, and I think you're going to see some guys that'll step up at the end of the year and make their presence known here. So, being Joey or Donnie or Paul, I think these guys will win it based on wins. I think that's what's going to happen, and I'm hoping that's what happens because, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of the qualifying point deal.
Well, we talked about that a little bit. I'm going to disagree with you once again. I think those 12 quick times, Darren had 13 last year and still managed to beat Schatz, who had 23 victories. You cannot deny the importance of the qualifying points the way they are set up now, and it's until the Outlaws make the rule change, quick times are going to be a huge deciding factor in who wins this championship. Now, Darren's trying to go, I think, the alternate route this year. He had the most quick times last year. He's leading the series in wins this year. But I think when it comes right down to it, those 12 quick times and plus whatever else Saldana is going to get this year. I mean, realistically, we could see Joey Saldana with 20-plus quick times. I think I'm going to go Squeal that is going to be the deciding factor in the championship this year.
I'm going for a hopefully non-squeal.
A non-squeal. No squeal on that one. Okay,
Yep.
Well, we disagree once again. What's new? And finally, the last question of squeal or no squeal. A Knoxville regular will win the Nationals this year.
No squeal.
No squeal. Okay. I think we agree on this one. You go first.
Basically, I'm looking at the World of Outlaws and the guys that are out there, and these guys are hard to beat that are racing not on a weekly deal, almost on a nightly basis. And I think that there's too much of that going on for them guys to be at a disadvantage, even on the weekly guys that are racing Knoxville. I think that you're going to have a tough time, even if you are racing weekly up at Knoxville. Craig Delansky,
Brian Brown,
a Heskin. These are great drivers, and all by all right have a chance to win the Nationals. Going to be hard to beat a guy like Donnie Schatz up there.
I've had, a very unique experience. 2011, I covered the World of Outlaws as the PR guy. Got to see Donnie Schatz's team up close and in action during the event. 2012, working with the CL Motorsports number 19 and Stevie Smith. Got beat by Schatz after we started on the pole. And then last year, watching from high above at Knoxville Raceway as Donnie Schatz came through the B and then just drove through the field.
I think
until somebody can come along and figure out what Donnie Schatz and Ricky Warner, his crew chief, have figured out, you have to pick Schatz. You have to pick Schatz when it comes to the big money race at Knoxville, and that is the Knoxville Nationals.
You have to agree with me when it comes Knoxville time.
I am agreeing with you.
That team actually changes.
Yes,
it's a great team and can win on an every night basis with the World of Outlaws. When it comes Knoxville National time, and they come out of that Ironman deal rolling into Knoxville, it's like something switches as a gear for TSR.
It's not just one gear; it's like 5 gears. They ratchet up 5 gears.
It's impressive, and it's going to be exciting to watch again this year. I mean, I don't know how much it can get better than last year as far as it came from behind back there, but I would never. I can't count him out. I mean, Donnie Schatz has been impressive at Knoxville, and it's his Nationals to lose again.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Squeal or no squeal, where we pose 3 racing-related questions, and Neil and I get the chance to chew on them just a little bit. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, but I think we are in agreement that Donnie Schatz, it's his Nationals to lose. So we want to thank you guys very much for tuning into Gas and Glory, and remember, you can pick up several drivers' gear over at www.r-raceware.com, the web's largest store for dirt track racing merchandise. On behalf of everyone here at R&R Enterprises, he's Neil Quick, and I'm Kyle Luetters. Special thank you to Paul McMahon for joining us this week, and we will see you next time.
You've been listening to Gas and Glory, presented by R&R Enterprises. All rights reserved. Please visit the web's largest sprint car store today at www.r-raceware.com. The views and opinions expressed in the show are the host and guest alone and do not directly reflect those of R&R Enterprises.